Donald Trump is not in a good place, and that puts America not in a good place. And that is why I'm going to show you a headline right now, and it is very funny, I'm sure you will agree in a second, but also very important work being done by his aides to put him back in a good mood that could theoretically potentially save people's lives. Trump aides tried to cheer him up during pandemic by bringing big trucks to White House, according to report. They brought trucks.
He loves that
because
truck.
he likes big trucks. 18-wheelers specifically. They brought them onto the White House South Lawn because he likes the big trucks, and they thought that that would make him less depressed during this time where so many people are dying every single day. I don't think it worked. I guess the trucks weren't big enough. Maybe the Tesla truck. That's a pretty cool one. Maybe that would do it.
He is a baby. He is a tiny, little, itty-bitty baby. He is a simple, tiny, whiny little baby who wants big trucks. Mm-hmm. This one goes vroom. I remember when he had them come out, they're like, "These deliver the packages? Is this Amazon?" Mm-hmm. He is a simple idiot. And at the time, people are dying, buddy. Like, so many people are dying, but he is more concerned with how it makes him look, but he's not sophisticated enough to realize that people know that by now.
Yeah.
And there was a poll out today saying that, like, compared to June, like, he lost 17 or so % approval rating in terms of handling of the coronavirus from Republicans.
Yeah.
Republicans are like, this is not good. We're out.
Mm-hmm. Two comments I want to mention that I saw. One was Tonka Trump. I just think that's funny. And the other was I like big trucks and I cannot lie. Yeah, like if you... like kids like big trucks. Okay, that'll make them better. But if you read the reports, the Washington Post does a write-up on this, people who are around the president literally every day, and they say that they try to snap him out of this, saying, you're the president. Like, his approach... Like, one of the things that's always weirded me out so much about people presenting him as some sort of alpha is he is so reactionary, so passive. He literally sits and watches TV. He's the president. He has an incredible amount of power, direct power of things he can do, but then also the power to get things done by influencing media and politicians, his party, his base, all of that. Like, they're trying to snap him out of his depression, which has caused him to pull away from the news during a time where we cannot afford to have a president who's not engaged with what's going on, by bringing trucks, rather than him, like, taking up an issue and doing something about it, solving a problem. These are all things that he has more singular power to do whenever he wants than anyone else in the country and probably the world. But instead, they described, this is an article that just came out yesterday, they said he has been spending an inordinate amount of time watching television news. Now, we've seen that a billion times while he's been president. That's not something new. It's standing out even to them now, in the White House, in comparison to before, that he's just retreated to the White House, he's just watching what's going on, he's stewing in anger over the pandemic and the protests and all of that, when he could be solving problems. Not problems that I have, I'm sure he wouldn't care, and not solutions that I would use, of course, but he could do something proactive to try to get back on top.
Yeah, and it takes so much. Other politicians in this would at least have the instincts to see it as an opportunity to actually do something, to gather some momentum and an obligation to do it, because they realize that no amount of BS will actually end up being more of a factor in whether you're deemed a successful politician than the actual statistics of how many people are dying. Like, there's all those things, and they flashed up occasionally throughout Trump's presidency where, like, even Jeff Sessions was like, I got to recuse myself from this case. Like, and this is even the other people in around him are saying, and even his base, even Republicans are like, he is failing this miserably. But Trump thinks he can just hunker down and do this stuff. And if he doesn't, he knows the only thing he can't do is apologize. Like, that's his own thing. He can never say he's wrong. That's the one thing he sticks to. But other than that, he will complain about being treated unfairly. He thinks that gets him a certain way. But in this situation, we earlier in the show, we played a clip of him bragging about passing a cognitive test. In that same interview with Hannity, he sits down and Hannity gives him a second opportunity to say what he plans to do in his second term. Something that when he was asked earlier, Trump didn't even have like 3 things to say.
So what did he have this time?
This time he actually answered. He was like, well, I'm going to build the wall. We're going to do that. We're going to, and that was it. But just, he already bungled. Even Hannity was like, yeah, you need to take another swing at this. Like, I cover for you and everything, but even Hannity, and that's happening more and more, where even his advisors have to find something to do that will cheer him up.
Yeah.
Like, he is a moody little boy. And that's what's so frustrating. They have to bring big Tonka trucks to the White House so he can
He needs to take a trip to like a museum or something, like see like the big bones or like a rocket, something like a truck's not big enough anymore. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, 2 more little bits from this article in the Washington Post. To some of his longtime advisors, the president has seemed tired, low energy, and lacking the passion and energy that defined him previously. And then there's this, which is less like that's about him, but this is about the country and him. A third outside advisor in frequent touch with the White House said that in recent conversation, the president seems inconsolable and summed up Trump's riff. Gripes about the great economy built, now felled by the virus, and also how, quote, some stupid cop in Minneapolis kneels on someone's neck and now everyone is protesting. That's the biggest issue. That if you were to come up with a trait that we should not have in someone who has the power over life and death, believing that everything bad that happens is mainly a problem for you is probably one of the highest up on the list. Like someone who lies, as a matter of course, is a big issue too. Someone who's entirely corrupt, that's an issue. But someone who believes that the bad things that happen are bad because they're about me, not about maybe the person who was the neck that was being knelt on, or the people who died from the virus that took away your economy. If he was able to identify with those people suffering, then he could come up with a course of action that would not only be better for those people, but also arguably better for him.
Yeah, that solving these problems is good.
Yeah.
Rather than complaining about them in a way that over time he's wearing out the like earmuffs of his base. And what he had before was like this economic shield. Like I was saying it's like for me personally in my life, like, there's a whole group of people who are like, he's just annoying. Right? They didn't have any real experience with like racism or the difference, the 2 Americas that exist for folks that are wealthy and white and everyone else. They didn't experience that. So he was just annoying, but they didn't have any. But they look around and they're like, even the eras when he's saying make America great again and we should make America like it was back then. If we were back then, I would be paying way higher taxes than I am now. So they're looking around being like, well, I have no incentive to empathize with anyone. Now that shield of a plush economy is gone. Is it completely gone? No, because the stock market is still looking around saying, of course they'll bail us out. Like I'm not that worried. But at the same time, they're looking around going like, a lot of people are dying. It will cost us trillions of dollars in the economy. And he's not doing anything about it. And I definitely don't want people boycotting me for donating to his election. So we're getting rid of that. And so that's something that is wildly different this time than last time, but super, super dangerous for his prospect of being reelected.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm glad that you brought up the fact that they're very assured that they're going to be bailed out, because we're going to turn in just a minute to whether the American people might a little bit more than they already have.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.